All right, so let's hop into number 8 here. If you look at the chords for number 8, F minor, D flat, A flat, E flat. If you look back at number 3, we have the F sharp minor, the D, the E, and the A. So we're basically shifting everything down a half step. So that kind of creates its own issues because of this A flat down here. And we can find the F minor in the first fret. There's our F, there's our minor shape. Now this is going to feel kind of weird, but normally your D chord is here, so you'll be playing in the first fret. That's your D flat. So if you have your tendency is going to probably want to grab that. So here's your D flat. Play the root on the second string, play the appropriate major shape. We get this. Now for our A flat, we can't just simply move our A down because of the first string being open. So we'll find A flat at the 5th fret, first string, play the appropriate major shape. So that's an A with the 3rd in the bass, that's in first inversion. And then our E flat is the 4th fret on the 2nd string. So we're just taking that D chord up for the E flat, back for the D flat. So that's the neighborhood down here. Now for the track, I'm going to do a strummy kind of thing, and I may end up here. So we're taking these chords an octave higher. So the F minor, that makes sense. D flat, same as before. But now for this A flat, instead of jumping up here, because we have an E flat at the 12th fret, we can grab this A flat, okay? So my A flat is on the 13th fret of the 3rd string. That's my root. Play the right major shape. And then my E flat at the 11th fret on the 1st string. Play the right shape, okay? So I may start the strumming thing down here. I don't know if I'll get up here on the strumming thing, but we'll do it on another rhythm. Now let's look for our next neighborhood. So we have an F on the 2nd string, 6th fret, play the minor shape from your sheet. So this would be an F minor chord with the 5th in the bass. So this is an F minor in 2nd inversion. Now in that neighborhood, we need a D flat. So you have a D flat right here on the 3rd string, 6th fret, play the appropriate major shape. Notice that A flat on the top, that's common between both chords. Okay, now that same note, that A flat, will serve as a root for our next chord, our A flat chord. So this is a pretty nice little grouping right here. And then for our E flat, we can grab that one. You can move it up to this E flat, but I'll probably play it here. Okay, now we move up to our next neighborhood. We look for an F. So we've done this F on the 1st string, this F on the 2nd string. Now we're looking for an F on the 3rd string. So that takes us up here to the 10th fret on the 3rd string. So we play, that's our root. We play the appropriate minor shape from your sheet with the root on the 3rd string, F minor. Now we have a D flat on the 9th fret of the 1st string, play the appropriate shape. Okay, there's that same F. That F serves as the root of the F minor chord. Here it serves as the 3rd of the D flat chord. So same note in the bottom, like up here we had the same note on the top. So that F has a different function. Here it's a root. Here it is a 3rd of the chord. So that's a D flat in 1st inversion. Now we need an A flat. Right in the middle of that D flat chord is our A flat on the 2nd string, 9th fret. Play the appropriate major shape with the root on the 2nd string. You get that D shape that we use down here, right? So the F minor has an A flat in the middle of it. This guy. The D flat has an A flat. And now it's the fifth of the chord. Here the A flat is the root of the chord, okay? And then we need an E flat. So I'll probably just do this one. So E flat on the third string, G and B flat, root third fifth, so this is root position using the right shape. And then we've already gone over these up here. So go ahead and map those out. I think what we're going to do is I'll start with this strummy thing. I'll give you two options. You can do like something like this where you go down, down, up, down for each chord, right? So down, down, up, down, 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 up, down. Right, that kind of thing. I might do something a little more active. We've done this rhythm, I don't know, like maybe 3 times now where it's down, down, up. So it'd be like a... down, 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 up, down, 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 down. So remember, if you get the rhythm right and you get that drilled in your head, the left hand just follows. So the right hand is always the motor. So let's start the track, and I'm going to start here. And I'm going to work my way up to here. But if you want, you can start down here. For the F minor, and then your A flat, your D flat. But I'm going to start in the middle of the neck with this kind of strummy thing. So let me get the track ready and we'll give it a try. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Last one. Move up. Last time. Move up. Okay, let's hop into the next rhythm here. Let's do an arpeggio thing. So let's do where we come in on the end of the beat and do something like this. 4, 1. That'll be the rhythm. Da 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 da. So we'll just get that hard, short jab on the last one. So now we're kind of combining three of the options we talked about. You're either strumming, you're arpeggiating, or you're doing a jab. So here, we'll just combine two of those techniques. And then we'll do that. Why don't we start up high where we just left off and then work our way back down. So we'll start with kind of the intensity up high on the neck and then work our way down, and it'll kind of mellow out as it goes down. But we're gonna keep that same pattern throughout. So the right hand's gonna be doing something new. You'll have to arpeggiate, do the jab, get the mute, and then change chords in time. So we'll start up here and work our way down to here. And I don't think we'll get down to here. We'll just leave that out. So we'll start in this top neighborhood, 13th fret, you know, this kind of 10th fret area, and then down here in the 6th, 4th fret. Okay, so let's give that a try. 2, 3, 4. Get ready. Move. Last time. Move. So on the very last chord, I thought it would sound just good to end low, so I didn't tell you, but I ended here, you probably ended here. That's okay. So let's move on. Let's do the 12/8 version. I have a couple ideas for that one that I would like to try. Now what we'll do in this one is we'll just play each chord one strum. So it'll be like this. But once you cycle through the progression, you have to move. So this will just be a little test up and down the neck, hitting each chord one time and cycling through the neighborhoods. And I'm going to start low. I'll probably get all the way up here an octave higher and then start working my way back down. Okay, so let's get ready to do this thing. Just hitting each chord once. 2, 3, 4. Move up. Move up. Up. down. Move down. Back where you started. Move up. Move. Move up. And down. Move down. All right, so let's do one more at 12/8. I'll get the track ready, and then I'll show you the rhythm, and we'll do it. All right, so this next one, we'll start up here at the 9th fret, and then we'll get up here to the 13th, and then we'll end down here at the 5th and 6th. The rhythm's going to be this. Quarter, eighth, quarter, eighth. So it'll be the swing thing, and we're only going to hit strings 3 and 2. So just because you're playing the triad doesn't mean you have to play all the strings. So we're gonna play this part. So you can hold the whole triad, but notice what I did there. That's my F minor. This would be my D flat. So I may or may not change shapes, but we're playing the same 2 notes. That's kind of what I want you to see, is going from here to here. You probably won't see it right away, but try to think about, hey, do I need to make a move or can I stay here? Okay, so we're gonna start 9th fret, and then we're gonna go up to the 13th, and then we're gonna end down here on the 5th. So let me get the track ready and we'll go for it. 2, 3, 4. Move. Okay, so I want to make sure I explain, because if you were watching my hands and it looked like I wasn't playing, like the triads that we've been talking about this whole time, let me kind of explain a little more what my approach was, because it helped me move less. So this will be difficult at first when you're trying to just first learn the triads and figure out how to transition. But when we started here, if you visualize your F minor, your D flat is right there. There are two common tones, right? So that's what I keyed in on. So I'm thinking about a hand position where I move as little as possible. So I think I did something like this with these two fingers. So that covers my F minor and my D flat. And then when the A flat came up, right, it would be this shape. So this note on the second string is common between all three chords. So I was thinking about, how do I get from here? I can stay there for my D flat. Instead of lifting my second finger and going there, I did this. For the F minor, the D flat, right, here comes my A flat. So I'm covering the A flat and the E flat. So I didn't have to move. And then when the E flat came, instead of doing this, I'm already right there. So F minor, D flat, A flat. Now I bar with my first finger. That's my E flat chord. So it's okay if you don't see this right away. This isn't easy, but it's worth exploring if you're pretty comfortable with this, to be thinking about, okay, what's the next level? How can I move as little as possible and disrupt the sound? Keep equal pressure, because you're dealing with intonation and all this stuff. But the less movement, the less breaking of the line. So that's what I'm thinking. And then we went up here, right? So this is my F minor. I'm keying in on F minor. There's my D flat. And then again, here's my A flat. So if I just do this and bar, that covers my F minor. I put my second finger down to cover my D flat. I lift my second finger, maintain the bar. That covers my A flat. So A flat, those two notes. F minor, those two notes. D, those two notes. So I'm really just keying in on how little can I move. And then I did have to make a shift for this E flat. So F minor, D flat, A flat, E flat. Right? And then I just got back into my bar. Here's my A flat and my E flat. And then we went down here, I grabbed this shape, this F minor, and I think the first time through, I'm looking for D flat. So I'm keying in on those two strings, those notes. I just put my third finger down. So there's my F minor, here's my D flat, here's my A flat. So I'm thinking this, D flat, A flat, and then you have to make a move for this E flat. But I got right back, and I think on the second time through, I changed my fingering. I think I did. Maybe not. I think I kept it the same. F minor, D flat, A flat, and then E flat. So sorry. So if you feel like you've got kind of a handle on this, you can go back and play any of these exercises with any of the backing tracks and look for things like that, like how little can I move? And so on this last time through, I wanted to make sure that we, we've talked about this, I think two other examples I gave where just because you're holding a chord or a triad doesn't mean you have to play the whole thing. For me personally, this top string, the brightness of it isn't always my favorite thing to hit all the time, depending on the style of music and depending on the part. So just because you're holding it doesn't mean you have to hit the whole chord. You can create an arpeggio part or a simple 2-string thing or skip a string. You can do whatever you want with these shapes. So I wanted to introduce the idea of common tones and really kind of drilling down on it and think about how can I see these triads at an even deeper level, which less movement, a more simple fingering for the chord, but it kind of scrambles the way that you see the neck and the chord. So it's more simple in terms of fingering, less movement, but it makes it harder because you have to really be able to see the triad and the shape to be consistent with not jumping around and doing things like I was just talking about with those, you know, those really simple, or where does something stay down and I don't really have to move. Like this is my F minor, but that's also my A flat. There's my D, so. And then making the move for my E flat, things like that. So go back and experiment with any of that on any other tracks, but we'll move on and we'll do exercise number 9 next. All right, catch you in a little bit.